Wetware Media presents The Pipeline and the Paradigm, Keystone XL, Tar Sands, and the Battle to Defuse the Carbon Bomb. Written by Samuel Avery and narrated by Andrew Mulcare. Copyright 2013 by Samuel Avery. This recording is copyright 2013 by Wetware Media. Foreword by Bill McKibben. It's quite amazing how fast the Keystone Pipeline became a symbol of environmental resistance. In the late summer of 2011, as activists gathered in Washington, D.C. to begin civil disobedience outside the White House, the National Journal polled its energy insiders to see if they thought activism would slow the permitting process. 91% of those congressional aides, lobbyists, and journalists said no, the pipeline would have its permit by year's end. Instead, President Barack Obama ended up denying TransCanada's request for approval, a temporary and partial win to be sure, but an indication nonetheless that people are learning to fight back against the fossil fuel industry. In this case, that fight is being led by people on the ground, indigenous environmentalists in the tar sands country, and spirited resistors along the pipeline route all the way to the Gulf. It's being chronicled mostly by people outside the mainstream media, able to use new forms to carry messages around the corporate power that dominates our traditional media. Sam Avery is the perfect example. From blogging to writing a book, he's gone deeper into the story of the pipeline than almost any other journalist. This volume tells a deep story about the resistance to the pipeline, one of the epic battles of recent environmental history. The players are wonderful people, endlessly devoted. Daniel Day in Texas say, even as Obama denied permission for the northern section of the pipeline, he shamefully expedited approvals for the portions that crossed Texas, meaning the Daniel farm is still slated to be cut in half. So Daniel and his allies have been mobilizing for civil disobedience, joining hands with a wide swath of Texans, including members of the Tea Party, who are sick of corporate domination. Or heroes such as Nebraska's Jane Kleeb, who rallied the bright red Cornhusker state against the pipeline, to the point where the state's Republican senator and governor ended up opposing TransCanada, which offered Obama political cover as he made his call. The Keystone fight is far from over. A second Obama administration may well give in to the fossil fuel industry, but there are encouraging signs elsewhere. In Canada, for instance, activists have rallied to block a similar pipeline west to the Pacific. And in Europe, environmentalists have fought so far successfully to make the EU classify tar sands oil as environmentally unsound. It's easy to say, even if we stop this pipeline, we're still losing the climate change fight. And of course that's true. The temperature keeps rising. We really do have to take on the fossil fuel industry directly, trying to figure out how to keep it from wrecking the climate. But have no doubt, the Keystone battle was the Lexington and Concord of this war. It sparked the largest civil disobedience action in 30 years on any subject. It produced the rarest of defeats for big oil. All we ever win in the environmental movement are temporary victories, and this one may be more temporary than most. But understanding its history is key to making sure there will be many more victories. Many thanks to Sam Avery for telling the on-the-ground truth and for making sure we know what it all means. Bill McKibben is an author, environmentalist, and activist. In 1988, he wrote The End of Nature, the first book for a common audience about global warming. He is the founder and chairman of the board at 350.org, an international climate campaign that works in 188 countries around the world. The Pipeline and the Paradigm. This is the tipping point. We are at the edge of the familiar world, standing at a moment of decision, staring into the abyss of runaway climate disaster. There is enough carbon in the tar sands of Western Canada to tip us over the brink. The Keystone XL pipeline will connect that carbon to the atmosphere. It will change the climate.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?